Hi there. Today is January 23rd, 2024, and it is 11:11. Um, auspicious. I'm parked by the PCH on the border of the Pacific Palisades and Malibu, and here is my friend that has taken such good care of me. Um, so I'm doing this video because I've got to update you before things take a turn, which are going to take I think it's like day after tomorrow. It's my third infusion of 6, and they're 3 weeks apart. The first week is hell, the second week is acclimation, and the third week is kind of like a grace period where you start to feel somewhat human. And then all that goes to shit when you get the next infusion, because your toxicity level goes up exponentially, and you start all over again. And there's no way to know what it's going to be like going in. Every person's different, and every chemo is different, and so forth. But I will say the last one was the worst one I've ever had. And if you're just tuning in, I'll just give you a quick update on what I'm talking about. So in October, I was diagnosed with a completely new cancer called adenocarcinoma of the rectum, and there was a 1.5-inch size tumor lesion in the wall of my colon, and a 1/2-inch size mass in the nearest lymph node, and 3 other lymph nodes were showing signs of joining the party. I did started chemotherapy with this PICC line thing put in my arm on the 14th of December. And I've had 2 infusions so far, and the last one was a bit of an overdose. They had a little mix-up in gauging my weight, which is how they figure out how much to give you. They got it wrong, and it could have been pretty disastrous as it was. It was very, very challenging to overcome. I lost motor control of my fingers, my tongue. I could barely keep my eyelids open for the first 12 hours. All the cold responses that come with this specific chemo were more drastic than they would be for the average person getting it, to the point where I was having these episodes like clockwork every few hours that where a sneeze could turn into a sudden temperature spike that would turn into a sudden wave of nausea that could turn into dry heaves, and I'd end up barely able to breathe and screaming for my life. And luckily I figured out a workaround, and that I've shared in previous videos, and I'll share it again. Humming stimulates the vagus nerve in the neck, and I've been using that to stave off the sneezes, the cold responses, the sneezes, the hiccups, the burps. You can just get into these burping cycles, and yeah, it's but also when you feel like nausea is coming on, or you feel like especially in the dry, you get into the dry heaves, humming, if you can, it'll chill you right out. and also that thing that happens where you get like a sharp needle-y thing right here when you've eaten something sour or drank something before you were or eaten something when you're dehydrated. If you start oming or humming, it'll stop that right away. Um, so anyway, I posted a video on the 13th and 14th, one on Instagram and one on this platform, and an hour after I finished the second video, I was very upbeat in that video because I thought I was in the recovery phase. I thought, because I hadn't had a bloody stool in like a week or so, even through the infusion, I thought that I was in the recovery phase, that there wasn't a lesion there anymore. And an hour after I finished the second video on the 14th, I started bleeding again. And the amount of blood said that there was that lesion was very much still there. It was a serious wake-up call, and unfortunately it bled for I think Wednesday, till Wednesday. It started Wednesday night was the last time I saw a bloody stool, and unfortunately that Wednesday, that afternoon, it was one of the worst it's ever been, and it really shook me up because it was a puddle of blood. And that moment, there was a moment there where I was very distraught because and feeling very down and dejected, because I felt like, one, it told me that this thing is how tenacious it is, and that I really needed to be that much more tenacious than this thing, for sure. It also said that, everything that I've done, that I've been through up to that point, even all that suffering with the cold response from the last infusion, could have been for nothing. And I had to accept that was a possibility, that what I was doing may not have any effect whatsoever on this cancer. And so it was a reality check, and I think it was a much needed one, because I was thinking I was that much further ahead. I thought I was in the recovery phase, actually, but I only want to be in reality, and I obviously wasn't in reality. So within an hour of discovering the blood in my stool, I started doing the capecitabine pills again. So that's these babies right here. See, they're almost gone. So the way these capecitabine chemotherapy pills work is I'm supposed to take 7 of these a day, 4 in the morning, 4 in the evening. It's based on my my BMI, my body mass, and I think it's a surface area of your body they calculate using your weight and height and so forth. And so you're supposed to take them for 14 days, and they only give you 14 days worth of the prescription at a time. And then you're supposed to take a week off, 7 days off, to let the toxicity level go down to a manageable level so that you don't, to mitigate any possible organ damage, right? So I had trouble starting up again after what happened that weekend after the second infusion with the overdose. Had a hard time starting it up again. I tried one full day, and the very next day the nausea was pretty off the hook, and so I was just just following my inner guidance to just chill out and let things settle more, and thinking at the time that I was at in the recovery phase, I didn't want to like be over treating myself. So I had kind of resigned myself to not taking any more of these pills and saving them in case I needed them later. Because when you do the radiation, you're supposed to be taking these pills too. So I thought, they'll be that much more potent if I save them. But when the blood started again, I was like, you know what? I don't want to miss the opportunity to take full advantage of the toxicity levels of both of these drugs, given the fact that this thing has shown me how tenacious it is. So I started taking the pills again. I only got 2 more days of this before I start my 7 days off, and that means that I've timed my week off, my 7 days off of this drug, with the week that is the hellacious week right after the infusion. So that makes more sense to me than trying to take these at the same time as the highest toxicity level right after the infusion. So that's where we're at with that. Good news. My weight has maintained around 174, 173, something like that, for about a week or so, and that's a good sign. And on last Thursday, I finally got the what do you call it, the report from the CT scan that was done on December 21st. That was the first. So I started the infusion on the 14th of December. A week later, because my blood work was so out of whack when I started, it caused some concern for the doctor that was on call for the infusion center. So he recommended that I submit to another CT scan just to check me out. And so on December 21st, exactly a week after we started the first infusion, we did the CT scan. I agreed to it because I wanted to see if any of the stuff that I had done leading up to starting the allopathic treatments had any effect on the cancer. And so when the report came back, because it was right before Christmas, the 2 weeks of Christmas and everything like that, they got all jammed up and they didn't get around to it until, I didn't get the report until last week. So, but what it said is, so when when the radiologist goes through the report, the way he listed everything is from the top of the body working his way down. And it goes, he's talking about the throat, and then the neck, and the down, and the organs and everything like that. And he's just saying unremarkable, 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 right? He gets down into the pelvis, and there's absolutely no mention of the cancer site. Absolutely no mention of the cancer site. I'm like, that's friggin' weird. But just before he gets down into the pelvis, he says, no enlarged lymph nodes. So obviously, I have my oncologist in-person consultation. We have one before each of the infusions, and is tomorrow. So we're gonna get some clarity on this. We're gonna jump into this and see, did he just not? Did he miss the friggin' cancer site? I mean, and when he said no enlarged lymph nodes, was he just talking about everything that he'd seen before, or was he talking about he didn't see any enlarged lymph nodes at all in my whole body? So if that's true, then what that means is that a week after the first infusion, there was no what they call T4 disease. They call it T4 because there were 4 lymph nodes that were impacted by the cancer. Um, and that means that either something I did between when I was diagnosed with T4 disease in October and the first week of the infusion, either it was the infusion itself or something that I was doing, because you saw, if you've been paying any attention, I was doing all sorts of stuff, from alkalinity to the Rick Simpson oil protocols. So like I said, we're going to get some clarity on that tomorrow, one way or the other. And then after this infusion, as soon as I can handle it, we're going to do another CT scan before the 4th infusion to see where we're at. So I'm really looking forward to that, to see what's going on here. The good news is I haven't seen any, nothing as obvious as what was happening last week, but I haven't seen any blood in the stool since last Thursday, I think. Last Thursday. So today is the 23rd. Today is what, Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. So yeah, it's been at least 5 days with no obvious blood in the stool. And that says if there is blood there, it's certainly less than it has been. And that's a good trend. I'm gonna take that as a good thing. So that's pretty much all the big parts. I want to say thank you to everybody that's tuning in and paying attention to this. I know there's a lot of people that are praying for me and sending me good vibes and holding me in a good place. People sending me Reiki and whatnot. And keep it coming. Keep it coming. There are no fucking guarantees. If there's one thing that this whole thing, shows you, especially with all these side effects and everything, is I can't take anything for granted. I can't take breathing for granted. I can't take drinking water for granted. If I drink cold water, it's going to create this whole cascade of events that could end with me not in a good place. If I breathe cold air, same story, They had a cold snap here the past couple of days with these storms that have been coming through here. And, I woke up at the crack of dawn on the verge of having an episode, and I realized I had to, mask up. I had to warm the air before I could breathe it. I can't stand in the water. I can't. If I walk down there and put my feet in the water, that could start the whole cascade of events. I would probably start sneezing, and then temperature spike. Menopausal women know what I'm talking about with the temperature spike. Suddenly 1 minute you're fine and dandy, and next minute that you're sweating. I mean, this just that you've got to do something, and sometimes there's nothing you can do. So yeah, so what I'm saying is this has obviously taught me some things about that you just can't take anything for granted in this life. I can't right now, being able to stand up, being able to walk, being able to run. I was able to run my little hobble up and down the beach. I started yesterday, and I did it again this morning before I shot this video. And I must have done maybe 40 yards, in one direction and 40 yards in the other direction, running backwards, forwards, and sideways and everything, and it felt friggin' wonderful. I did some little stretches and whatnot. I'm trying to work up to the courage to try to do my headstands again. I don't know that I'm going to get there. I don't know that it's not worth the problems that could come from it, but I definitely want to. Sitting still isn't it's not really my jam for long. I'm used to being much more physical, and but I have some experience in having to sit still, thanks to that accident I had last year or the year before with that where I got dragged off the dune, and had to teach myself how to walk again. When you have knee injuries and neck injuries, you can't push yourself. You have to take things slow, and that's what I've done. So I know how to be patient in these things. Like my blue ball. I love this ball. My friend Linda Lee gifted me this ball this summer, and loving it. Going to use it to stretch out my back when I get off here, which is something I can do in the van, so because it's tall enough for me to stand up in. Anyway, I'm giving thanks for everything and everyone, but I shot one of these yesterday, so I'm repeating a lot of what I said because you can't, or I haven't been able to figure out. You used to be able to take a video off of Instagram and download it to your phone and then upload it to YouTube, but I can't figure out how to do that anymore. I don't think you can. So I have to shoot two of these. So I'm repeating a lot of what I said yesterday. So for those that I feel like I felt yesterday I had to kind of give some feedback. I'm doing my best to stay away from people as much as I can. The only people I actually interact with are like cashiers, and I'm double masked and everything because I'm extremely immunocompromised, and I cannot afford to even get a cold right now. It would be too complicating, trying to navigate that and navigate the side effects of this stuff. You have to really stay on top of it, because the toxicity level is constantly changing, and the toxicity level is what is killing the cancer. So you're literally managing poisons in your body for your benefit, and so I'm staying away from people. One, for the possible infections, and another because spending all this time by myself and everything I get, and certainly being on these drugs, I've learned that I have to be really mentally disciplined, because I will so my worst tendencies will get magnified. I get fixated on stuff. I get caught up in other people's energy fields, and it's very friggin' confusing and very challenging for me to do, to disconnect and to navigate away and around and all that sort of stuff. It's hard normally, but under these conditions, I know there's people that have offered for me to come and use their tubs and stuff and to soak, and I have to decline because I know it's just energetically it's just too much, I get easily caught up and distracted and even confused sometimes. There's a lot of mental fog things that happen I've noticed that I'm aware of. I think well. I think I'm all cool and normal and myself and all that sort of stuff. But then, as soon as I'm interacting with another person or there's other people around, um, I get I can get a mental fog and not be as on it as I would be as I am in my head. Um, so for now, it's just the easiest thing is for me to just all my energy has to be focused on what I'm dealing with here and not trying to be social with people and whatnot. Not that I could be around them or anything. That's not what this time is for, you know. Um, so there'll be I feel there'll be plenty of time for that in the future. But right now, this is the depths of the shamanic journey that I've been on for 4 or 5 years now, and this is my third time going through cancer treatment, and my second friggin' cancer, not my cancer. It's the second cancer I've had to overcome. But the third time I've had to overcome cancer. And this is, as I said, is a completely different cancer, supposedly completely unrelated. I had those experiences with the first two times, because it certainly informed, and given me a heads up about what to expect and avoid and so forth. I've been getting a big messages lately that especially the past couple of days, that I need to start fortifying my system against the downsides of these drugs, like the probiotics, emphasizing probiotics. So I'm started taking kimchi. I can't do kombucha because it's got too much sugar in it, and it's got sugar in it at all. And I'm trying to stay away from starches and sugars and whatnot, because cancer, that's what it uses. My diet is mostly a lot of protein. I'd say it's like at least a third, if not half, protein, and the rest is vegetables and fruits. Raw, mostly salads and raw fruit. Lots of blueberries and grapes. Grapes, those big grapes, especially, because there are times when I can't get the water warm enough yet. So I need the fluid, and so that's what I've been doing. Grapes are really good. Another thing I've been doing is that, that thing where you don't eat after 8 o'clock at night. I think that's a thing. I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 months now, and I feel a whole lot better. I don't have as much bowel activity through the night, and overall my whole system seems to jibe a whole lot better with that, and so but sometimes I have to take these pills later than 8 o'clock. So something like grapes or avocados are really good, or bananas are really good too, because I can't take the pills by themselves. You have to have something in your stomach, So even though it's like last night, I couldn't take the pills until 11 o'clock, because if I took them at 8 o'clock, it would have been too close to when I took them earlier. I try to, spread them out to be as close to 12 hours apart as possible to keep the toxicity at an even keel. But so yeah, I wasn't able to eat. I wasn't able to take the pills till like 11:30. And that's kind of late to be eating something for me at this point. But I had those grapes, and it was a really good way, nice light way of getting something in there, But I have to say, avocados are definitely my new friends. I had about 4 or 5 of them for lunch yesterday with Bragg's and lemon juice. And I just couldn't stop eating them. They were so good. The good thing about avocados, it's a good source of fat and protein, and it's, you know, it's a vegetable protein, so it's, you know, you're not hurting yourself, you know. And also, it's kind of a, I think it's either a neutral pH or alkaline pH. It just feels like a neutral pH, so it's not, you know, it's kind of an unexciting flavor, you know. So anyway, let's see. I think that's about it for now. Gonna be going to run around tomorrow, see the doctor. Got a consultation with a surgeon. He's just checking in to keep in the loop. My goal obviously is to not have him have anything to do, and not have anything left for him or the radiologist to act upon. And so that's why I'm trying to maximize this situation as much as I can, to get these poisons to work for me as much as I can. So I know that part of the job of the chemo is to basically knock the shit out of you, and, you know, to trash your vitality, and in the process to kill as many cells as they can, you know, cancer cells as they can, and in the process they kill healthy cells, and the healthy cells recover faster, and the cancer cells can't recover as fast, and that's their calculus, you know. So that's why I picked this. I know that I look good. I trimmed my beard yesterday to do these videos so I wouldn't look so scraggly and scare the shit out of people. And I'm able to use my tongue. I'm able to talk and I sound articulate, and upbeat. I've got a lot of energy, you know. It's probably not going to be like that in 4 days, you know. And, you know, this weekend is probably going to be pretty hellacious. So in light of that, my plan is this time to, I'm going to weigh myself naked before I go to the oncologist tomorrow, and give him my exact weight, my naked weight, because they haven't been calculating my naked weight. They've been calculating with my clothes and pockets full of, and my shoes on and all this sort of stuff. And that, for most people, that probably wouldn't matter, but for me, I'm really sensitive to this stuff, obviously. So I get this doctor the right amount of weight so we can get the right amount of that chemo in me, and then I'm getting a motel room at Motel 6 at the airport, because they have bathtubs, and I'm gonna get it for 2 days, and I'm gonna soak gonna soak in the evening and in the morning, and at 4-hour stretches. And I know it's going to be a whole lot better. You absorb the chemo better, I think, if you soak. So so that's my plan, is to get through that first 48 hours soaking, and then we'll see. Then we'll see about, you know, arranging for the CT scan, which will tell us exactly where we're at with this whole thing. So thanks for everybody praying for me, thinking about me, and certainly for all those folks that have been contributing material support. It's how I'm going to be able to go get this motel room in it. And I've been using your money to eat really well, you know. I'm without thinking about how much things cost, I just go into the store and I buy whatever I feel that I need, and that is friggin' wonderful. When this whole thing started in October, you know, I could I didn't have a whole lot to work with, and I couldn't walk into a supermarket and just get anything I wanted, you know. Um, so I've been, you know, I restarted my GoFundMe because I had a feeling that that all this was going to happen, and that I obviously knew I didn't have the resources to deal with it. I thought I was going to get a place in Venice, and I knew that that was going to cost, you know, a chunk of change. But the place I was going to get, the you know, it's owned by a Chinese multinational investment firm now, instead of the family that I used to feel really good about supporting, you know. And the room that they were going to give me didn't have a bathtub. All it had was a shower, and there's a lot of money to spend on that, and for a compromise, you know. And I wouldn't be here, you know. This is like, this is what I do. I sit here and I just stare out at that ocean all day long, you know, while I'm, you know, marking time trying to get through these, getting through these drugs, you know. And honestly, I just didn't feel good about your good money, hard-earned money, going towards just, you know, a month's worth of rent. You know, I'd much rather go to like getting some land somewhere or something, you know. That said, it feels really good to know that I have all the resources that I need. I feel like a very wealthy person right now, and I know that's not, you know, compared to what other people think about what they're, it doesn't matter, you know. I just feel wealthy, and I don't just mean about money. I mean, I feel wealthy because, you know, I know that right now there are people that have me on the in their minds. They're thinking about me and wanting the best to happen with me, and it's a lot of people, you know. It's not like you can, I can't pretend I can't pretend I'm alone in the world, you know. So I know that whatever I'm going through is, I'm part of this network of care, you know, and concern. And unfortunately, I'm not the only one going through it. I'm wired into a whole lot of people that are going through it as equally as challenging. Some people even more. You know, there's this, I saw this sister today that I've been checking in on. You know, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. She's got 2 kids and a husband, you know. She had a skin cancer go systemic and into her brain, you know, metastasize into her brain. And they said she wasn't going to make it through 2020. She wasn't going to see 2023. And here it is, 2024, and she's still alive, you know. Thank goodness. And I've said this before a couple times, but I'll say it again. You know how the universe gives you stuff right when you need it. Oh yeah, I just wanted to show you my good friend here. This is my good friend. And yes, this is my glider. This is my flying technology, right? My Jin glider, and I love having it here. It just reminds me of where we're going, right? This woman, you know, she inspires me. So the the first, I think it was the day we got the confirmation of the diagnosis. I was sitting in the waiting room and I overheard this. I couldn't help but overhear this conversation the woman next to me was having with this other woman that was waiting for an appointment, and she was there for another clinic that's across the hall, but she said that in 2017 she was diagnosed with 3 cancers, 3 completely different cancers. And when that they're all gone now, and she was there for something else, like a knee injury or something. And I thought about that because here I've had 2, I was like, the universe is always going to show that there's somebody worse off than you, man. You think that you're the poster child for shit that sucks. Think again. There's always somebody that's got a more challenging story than you do, and then it's not a competition. It's all information. It's all an opportunity for us to learn from. It's not about my suffering's better than your suffering, or look at me, and it ain't about that. It's all for us to learn from. If we're of a mind, right, and a heart. So at this point, I'm wide fucking open. Wide fucking open. Hallelujah. I just want to let's look out there. Let's look out there. All right. Yeah, man. It's my favorite. That's what I look at all day, if I can. Yesterday it was raining here. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. Anyway. Yeah. So, I'll keep you posted. Gonna get off now. Loving you. And, let's do our thing, okay? So as I said yesterday, what I'm doing when I do that is I'm trying to shove love into the internet. So remember, it's 11:55 and we love you.